This is my subjective experience with how it felt to abuse Gabapent, and this is what you should look out for if you think somebody's doing it too. Let's go.
Before we get into it, remember Soberdogs does not promote or condone any drug use. Please seek professional medical help if you have an addiction. Oh shoot, check out the new Soberdog shirts. Recovery threw me a bone. Yeah. Make sure you check them out. I'll put a link in the description. Shout out to my man Rob Schultz for coming up with the saying. Yeah. All right, Gabapent. Let's get into it. If you missed the last video, break down Gabapent, all about it, what it is, where it came from, all the facts and medical stuff about it. Today I'm going to tell you about actually being on it and people abusing it. Gabapent, like I said very briefly in the last video, it was one of those things when I first got to jail, they were giving it for everything, 2013. They were giving it sleep, anxiety, depression, pain, whatever. And they figured it was a lot safer than opioids, which I guess technically it is. Not as addictive, not as powerful, but still is addictive and still can, be abused. But then towards the end of my time in 2016, you see them cutting a lot of people off, not giving it as much, trying to switch them to other stuff because I don't know if it was a state mandate or the medical community was catching on more to it being abused. But during that period, it was a hot commodity in jail and prison. A lot of people wanted it. People were buying other people's stuff. People were getting prescribed it, and they're getting high milligrams too. 3,600 milligrams a day. That's 600 milligrams a day. That's a high dose. And guys are selling each of those pills for, $2, $3, $4 each sometimes. So the first time I ever took it was in there in prison. I asked a guy that I knew, if he could get anything, and, things are dry right now, but I can get us some Neurontin. And I said, I heard about it, but I was like, dude, I heard it doesn't really do anything. He's like, just trust me. Meet me outside in the morning. So I didn't have to work that day. I went outside at about, 9:30, whatever it was. And we're sitting out there, and you were allowed to bring your coffee and stuff out. The big thing he said is it's great to take a bunch with a cup of coffee. Basically like a mini speedball. I'm assuming your coffee's your upper and Gabapent's a downer. We go out to the yard. He was supposed to get me 6 of them. He could only get 8 total, so 4 each. So he's like, we got our coffee. We're sitting out there. It's a nice sunny day. We each pop 4, chew them up, and we're sitting there drinking our coffee. Over the next hour and a half out at the yard, I got a slow, and then it creeped up a little bit more after about 40 minutes. I would describe it as similar to a benzodiazepine, like a Xanax, Klonopin, those ones. A little bit of a groggy, fogginess feeling, a little bit of lack of care, just like, a tiny bit out of it. But it wasn't crazy intense or anything, but definitely got a little buzz. One thing I did notice, which isn't a bad thing, but at the time, not what I was looking for, is it went away very quick. I was only feeling anything for about an hour. So I wanted more. And I also noticed that after that initial first hour, then the hour of kind of feeling it, afterwards, the next couple hours, I wasn't high or anything, but I was very groggy, just wanted to nap. That was my first experience taking it. Shortly thereafter, I was able to get 8 of them, maybe a week later, and I took all 8 at once and got pretty out of it, just, borderline nodding out, like pretty much like a benzodiazepine high that we used to always seek in the past. Very just, and then drinking coffee with it to have like that mini speedball effect. But a lot of that out of it high, that groggy out of it, not as full as like an opioid or even a Xanax, but on that level when a lot's taken. But that also is very dangerous and damaging to the body because you just keep taking more and more of these pills that have a ton of fillers and all that other junk in it. It can have effects on your muscles, your kidneys, things like that. In there at this time, guys were buying this so much. People would go down and get prescribed this for any reason they could, and they would try to cheek it and sell it all the time because, you know, there's a market for it. Where there's money to be made, guys are going to make money, period. And I know a lot of guys who bought these all day, every day. Some would take a couple in the morning for their anxiety. Some would take it to sleep. Some would take it like I did every now and then just to eat a bunch and get high. But there definitely is an abuse potential for it. Then another thing that happened was a buddy of mine who was on it, he was on 2,400 milligrams a day. He never sold his. He always took all of his own. He was on it for years. When that end period I told you guys about where they started to cut people off came, they cut him off. And for 3 days, he went through a serious withdrawal. And I remember talking to him and being this and seeing this and being like, wow, I had no idea that this substance created that much of a withdrawal. He's explaining it to me. He's telling me what it feels like, how it was similar to opioids, but not as intense. So that was another way I got to see like, wow, Gabapent definitely has a withdrawal. And he was on 2,400, which there was a lot of people on 3,600, the max dose. That would make it, you know, a third worse, basically, another 1,200 milligrams. Then when I got out of prison, I was prescribed Gabapent because I was freaking out, just a lot of cravings, a lot of anxiety. And this is when some of the different science was coming out showing that it's been helpful with some people with alcohol dependence, with cravings, with generalized anxiety. I mean, it came out earlier, but there was more promise shown, so to speak. So I was put on it for anxiety, where I got to, you know, take it as needed. I got the 600s, and I got 2 or 3 a day, take it as needed. I noticed very early on that a tolerance builds. So after 3-4 days of it, I'm not even feeling it, you know, anymore. I got to double or triple it to feel it, and I didn't want to do that. The doctors, you know, did not want to put me on a benzo. I have a history of abusing benzos, and they're very powerful. You guys know my benzo videos. I've done a ton. I don't think they're that good for many situations. So I'm taking these here and there, not often. Now, when I did have a big social event where a lot of people were drinking, I would take 2 or 3 before there, and it did help a lot get through these events like these weddings. I'm in early sobriety. Everyone's getting smashed, and I'm just this sober guy in the corner, very anxious, freaking out. That definitely helped there. As far as like anxiety on a daily basis, I noticed after a day or two, no effect because the tolerance builds up. It did help me those first couple months sleep. I would maybe 2 or 3 times a week take 2 of them before bed, an hour before bed, and it helped me sleep. But I didn't want to be hooked on anything long term, so I, you know, slowly talked to the doctor, worked with them, and you know, I was never taking it daily out here, but cutting down on it. It's definitely something I'm sure can help people, you know, talk to your doctor, but you definitely got to be careful with it because a lot of people, even now, still on the street are buying these and abusing it. And they got to eat a lot to do it, and that's having a ton of damaging effects to their body. I mean, I know people, you know, they're eating 15, 18, 20 of them a day to try to get some high, some effect. That's an insane amount, you know, that's a ton. They definitely can be addictive, definitely can get hooked, and definitely can be abused. Felt it, you know, cutting down, coming off, and definitely felt it from them, seeing how easy it could be to just want more. A little anxiety, pop another one, pop 2 of them, I need more, this, that. Definitely something to watch out for. That's what it was like for me. If you want to see more of the facts on it, check out the video I put up earlier. Kate Ruggs, the Soberdog, I'm out. See ya.